Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily podcast. Now, I recently read that a company called Sateliot is the only satellite company that connects IoT solutions worldwide under the 5G protocol, all with its patented technology via a low-orbit constellation of nanosatellites. In a nutshell, its satellite constellation functions as cell towers from space and delivers its service to land-based telecom operators, essentially extending mobile operators' coverage to everywhere on the planet, including formerly out-of-coverage areas. And I know we've got people listening in 165 countries, so I'm interested in how this technology is going to impact communities around the world, and also how satellite constellations can bring 5G network worldwide to users without the need to purchase any other equipment other than their mobile device. And I also want to dive a little bit deeper into the subject, try and understand the differences between 5G, IoT, NB satellite constellations and other satellite constellations, and what all that means, and how cubesats have made access to space so much easier for tech startups too. And also, most importantly of all, the benefits of this new space scenario to the world, and much more. But before we start today's interview, I just wanted to give a quick mention to our sponsors, because this month the podcast is brought to you by Flipper, which is the #1 marketplace to buy and sell online businesses and startups. So, do you run your own online business? And have you ever considered selling your website, your store, your tech, or your app? Because with world-class combined matching technology, dedicated brokers and end-to-end services, all at the most efficient price, Flipper is making it simple to sell your online business. So to get a free valuation, visit my friends at flipper.com/techtalks, where each month thousands of online business owners exit with Flipper. Again, visit flipper.com/techtalks. So buckle up and hold on tight, because today I'm going to beam your ears all the way to Barcelona to learn more about all this and much more. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Thanks, Neil. I'm Jaume Sampera. I'm the CEO and founder of Sateliot. I'm an engineer, telecom engineer. I'm a dreamer, like all entrepreneurs, and a doer, like all entrepreneurs, because if you don't do anything, okay, it doesn't work, you're dreaming.
Love that. And the fact that obviously you're a dreamer and a doer and somebody that's passionate about technology, I'd love to take you back in time for a moment. Can you share your origin story and where your passion for technology came from, and entrepreneurship, and how all those worlds collided for you to put you on the path that you're on today?
That was a long time ago, okay? My first computer, I bought it. It wasn't a Sinclair. I don't know if you remember that. It was from UK, okay? An old one, a CX81 when I was 17. I love that, okay? And I have been loving my technology all my life, okay? With this first computer, I won my first software and I sold it. Honestly, it was not a successful company because I just sold it, I don't know, 5 or 6 versions of my software. But here it comes both of my passions, technology and entrepreneurship, okay, which both of them has shaped my life. Or my first company I started when I was 25, and I haven't stopped since then.
Wow, what a great story. And of course, it would be that path that would eventually lead you to Sateliot, which is the first satellite telecom operator for global continuous IoT connectivity under a 5G protocol. So can you tell me more about the story behind that company and the problems that you've set out to solve with technology here?
We started thinking that an IoT was a huge opportunity, okay? Today, you have to think that inside the coverage of the mobile operators, there are around 2 billion devices. But this is just 15% of the world. There is 85% of the world where there is just 5 million devices, which is amazing because there are a huge opportunity in all the different sectors. You have to think just on agriculture, where massive IoT has been already applied in certain places that there is mobile coverage. They are getting around 15 to 20% yield increase, which is a lot, and 40% less water waste. And then it has a positive impact on economy and a super positive impact on environment. Both of them, they just got rigid with massive IoT, which is not ready yet.
Mm. And for people outside of this space that are hearing about the art of the possible for the first time, can you just expand on how satellite constellations can bring 5G network worldwide to users without having to purchase any other equipment than their own mobile device? Because it feels like a real game changer moment.
Oh, yes. This is something that has never happened before. We the ones that were inside the telecommunication industry, we do not get surprised that there are two different events. There is one mobile event in Barcelona, my city, and then there is one satellite event in Washington. These two sectors that it seems to be the same, they are completely separated one each other. Then till today, all the satellite companies have been using the technology, which means that there are no economies of scale. Therefore, the devices are super expensive. And it has been always an industry that it has moved by a very narrow offer. Then this is the price. If you want it, you take it. If you don't want, okay, there is nothing else. And this is going to change because we have been working for the last 3 years, because this is not something that you just take a device or connect to a satellite, okay? There is a lot of work before that, okay? And the first one was working inside the 3GPP. The 3GPP is the global organization that set up the standard for the mobile industry. It's the ones, okay, that says that you have to do it like this, okay, that you say this signal, they answer that other one, okay, and it is the success of the telecommunication industry, okay, that the same mobile phone was everywhere and the same IoT device was everywhere. Then we started with the 3GPP 3 years ago in order to modify to influence on the modifications for the new release of the standard. Every 2 years, okay, a new release appears with some modification from the last one. And every 10 years, okay, appears a new 5G, 6G, 7G, okay? But meanwhile, there are small modifications. And one of them was to modify the standard in order that it was able to connect directly with no hardware modifications. That's super important because this means that just with a firmware upgrade of the same IoT device, one of those 2 billion devices that are out there, you could connect directly with a satellite, which change everything. As you say, it's a completely disruptive solution.
So I'm curious, what are the differences between a 5G IoT NB satellite constellations and those other satellite constellations that people may have heard about in the past? What's the main differences between those?
The main difference is that we do not work on the device part. The device is already there. There is a huge ecosystem. If we work again on agriculture, there are more than 200 companies that are already developing 5G IoT devices for agriculture, sensors for agriculture. If we talk about cattle management, there are around 50 to 100 companies in the world that develops those devices. And exactly happens in all the different sectors, logistics, of course, infrastructures, which means oleoducts. Okay, there are different companies that specialize, and then they have the young device in each of these. Then we do nothing there. We just provide the connectivity part of the equation, and the rest we left it there to the specialists of each sector that are the ones that really know what are the needs of the final user and knows how to develop a super cheap device because there is economies of scale. Okay, again, since today, if you want to follow one animal of an endangered species in the middle of the wild, okay, you have to pay around 1,000 euros per device. Okay, wow. The same device that under the standard, it costs less than 10 euros.
Wow, man, that's quite a difference, isn't it?
It's amazing. It's amazing, the standard, and this is the power of the standard. I always say the same, okay? Where it's not a Sateliot who's going to be winning against the competition. It's the standard. The standard always takes all, okay? When you have a standard and you have such an ecosystem, then the rest, it's just done. It's impossible to stop.
And before you came on the podcast today, I was doing a little research and I was also reading how cubesats, which are essentially nanosatellites, standardized models, have actually made access to space easier for startups as well. Can you expand on that for me too?
Oh, yes, this has been an amazing step forward. Before CubeSat appeared, that the CubeSat, just to make a little bit of history, okay, appears because there were two categories from the university, okay, that wanted that the students develop their own devices, they want satellites, okay? And then they developed this standard that it's the CubeSat. And again, it happened, what happened is magic. Before CubeSat, it may need 5 to 10 years to build it up, okay? You start with a blank page, okay? You have to develop everything from the power supply to the solar panels to the rotor, everything has to be done from scratch. And of course, this needs a lot of effort and a lot of money and time. With the CubeSat, you could focus on the payload. The payload is what differentiates your satellite. If your satellite is an Earth observation satellite, it will be a camera. If it's a telecommunication, it will be a radio. Okay, then you just have to develop this part. The rest is off-the-shelf devices that they have heritage. This means that they have already flight on a satellite. You know that it works on these hard conditions. Okay, that it's outer space, and they are much cheaper. A classical satellite costs 100 million. Okay, CubeSat it's around 1 million euros and less.
Wow. So to bring this to life a little here, what would you say are the main benefits of this new space scenario to the world? What would it mean to everyone listening?
The huge benefits are the democratization of space. Before, just imagine some years, 5 to 10 years before, okay, images were only available for defense and large administrations. Today, you could buy an image of your field, of your local administration, okay, or whatever you want every day, okay. Most of them, they are free of charge, okay. You have all the satellites of the European Space Agency, okay, that they provide you images of the Earth for nothing, okay. And this is happening in all the different scenarios. Broadband, we have to think, okay, before Elon Musk appeared, okay, the cost of broadband in the middle web was huge. Today, you could have for 100 euros a month a fiber connectivity everywhere in the world. Then IoT is exactly the same. Okay, before that, there was just the IoT outside the coverage of the mobile operators. It was only applying for the critical IoT. If you have something very critical that you have to monitorize, okay, then you are ready to pay 500 euros for the device and 20 or 30 euros a month. With the massive IoT, with the 5G IoT, it becomes that the device, it costs around $5 to $10 or euros and €1 a month. This means that you could do it massively for all the different applications that today they are not profitable.
And at the beginning of our conversation, you were talking about how it's not about satellite IoT making money. It's actually about this new standard. But apologies for asking, but what is your business model? How do you guys make money from this new standard?
On my last company, okay, we open ourselves more than 20 countries, one by one. It was a telecommunications company also. Then when you arrive to a new market, it takes a very long time before you get profitable customers, okay? We have to say around 3 years. Some people say 1 year. No, 1 year, nothing, okay? In telecommunications, you need the confidence of the final customer, which is super hard to get, okay? Then the first year you are there, second year you start to doing some pilots, and third year you start to having some interesting customers. This is a very long time. When you deploy the constellation, low Earth orbit, as you know, okay, there are two kinds of satellites: the geo satellites, which are the ones that are very far away and they just illuminate a part of the planet, and the LEO, which is the low Earth planet or Earth orbit satellites that go around the world in a very high speed. Okay, our satellites makes around the world, okay, in 90 minutes. This means that with one satellite, you have global coverage, but of course not in real time, okay? But any LEO constellation, they have global coverage. Global coverage, which sounds great, it means global sales. You have to start selling everywhere, because if not, okay, you have a problem. If you just concentrate in US, which is the biggest market in the world, it's just 3% of the world surface. This means that 90% of the time your satellites are doing nothing, are just waiting to be again, okay, over the country. Then to start selling everywhere on the same time, because once you launch, what you want is to make as profitable as possible all the assets, okay, you have to go through a channel that is already there. And the only channel that exists everywhere is the mobile operators. With the mobile operators, they never use a non-standard technology. Then the only way to start everywhere is going through the mobile operators. This has a huge challenge, which is that the 3GPP technologies or the mobile technologies, they need real-time connectivity with the core in order to do roaming. Then we have solved it with latent technology that is store and forward and allows us to solve this problem. And this is completely unique from Sateliot IoT. This means that what we are going to be is the extension of coverage of the mobile operators. When the customers of the mobile operators goes to non-coverage areas, they will connect directly in a seamless way with our satellite. And through a single roaming agreement, we'll deliver back to the mobile operators. For the mobile operators, we are the mobile operators of the country with no coverage. Doesn't matter where you are, when you have no coverage, when there is no other mobile operators, we'll be connecting you.
And what's going to be your big focus in 2023? What can we expect from you guys this year?
Oh, 2023, it's an amazing year. Well, it has been every year has been an amazing year, like the startups, okay? But 2023 is especially amazing because we are going to be commercial, which is something that we have been waiting for the last. We incorporated the company in 2018. It has been 4 years until now, okay? And in 5 years, the next year will be in 5 years, okay, we are going to be commercial. We're launching one satellite for first quarter next year, and 4 more satellites in the second half of the year. With these 5 satellites, we are going to have enough capacity to start delivering services to all kind of companies in applications that they are non-time sensitive. We are not going to be still real time. Then this means that companies like sectors like cattle management, agriculture, infrastructures, all these that they don't need real time, they will be the perfect objective for us. Okay. And this is something that it's super important because we have already a lot of pre-orders. There is already a lot of people waiting to have this service. For first time in my life, okay, this is the number 8 company that I started up. Okay. For first time in my life, before having the service, there's people already knocking on the door saying, we want it. We want this service because we really need it. Okay. Because they already got the device, they already got the service, they already got the customers, and they don't have the coverage. We are just the only missing piece.
That's so good to hear. And there's your proof of concept right there. You've got people queuing up, wanting the product. And we started the podcast today talking about your origin story and how you became an entrepreneur and a doer and lover of technology. And as we've now come full circle, I suspect there'll be a lot of people listening at the very beginning of their career in tech or entrepreneurship. And for that person listening that could be located anywhere in the world, what would you say your biggest lessons are that you've learned in your career in tech that you would possibly pass down to somebody who's just starting out?
Oh, it's difficult always to say, okay, because every company is different, okay? Yeah. But first, in technology, what happens is there are too many opportunities, okay? You start with one, okay? In the way to develop it, you find a lot of other potential markets that they are looking super appealing. Then the first one that I will say it's focus. Okay, when you're an entrepreneur, you're a startup, you are a small company. Then today, in the past, I don't know, 15 years ago, it was possible to have just a geographical focus. Today, it's not possible anymore. The geography has disappeared. Okay, barriers has disappeared. The world is global. And then you have to be the best in something in a worldwide level. And to be there, you have to be super focused and narrow focus, laser focus, okay, in something. We are just 5G IoT, okay? Some other opportunities have come on our way, okay? But we just say, okay, 5G IoT, once we'll be the leader there, maybe we'll go for others, okay? But first we have to succeed on this, because if not, you just structure all your assets, okay? And second, of course, it's the team. Select the best team with you, okay? The team is the one that really, it's impossible for one person company does not exist, okay? Then if you want to be really successful in a global company, you need to have the best team with you and select them, give them part of the company, okay, which is super important, to be super generous with the shares. You have to share this success with others that are also giving all in order to be there.
And people always also say it's very important to feed your brain and keep reading. And I'm curious, is there a book that has inspired you along your journey that we can add to our Amazon wish list? If there was one book, is there anything that would spring to mind that you would leave us with, and why?
The one that I have already read, okay, that has, I think that it's an amazing book, and it's super related what we are doing. It's Eccentric Orbits, okay. It relates the history of iridium, and it's amazing because this it has been writing from somebody reading from the inside. Iridium is an amazing company that launched the first LEO constellation ago, okay, 15 to 20 years ago, and this means, okay, that you know exactly all the hard moments that they go through. It's something that really I enjoyed reading, and I learned a lot about. I'm not the only one facing these difficulties.
Love that. And for anyone listening, would just like to explore everything that we've talked about today, find out more information about Sateliot IoT and the work that you're doing, keep up to speed with things, or even ask your team a question. What's the best starting point for everything?
The website is www.sateliot.com. Okay, they could find all the information there.
Awesome. Well, I'll add links to that on the show notes so people can find you guys nice and easily. So much I've loved chatting with you today about how these satellite constellations can bring 5G network worldwide to users without having to purchase any equipment other than their mobile device. And I think this is such a game changer. We've got people listening to this podcast in 165 different countries, and the difference that can make to some of those people in different countries is completely mind-blowing. But thank you for sharing that, your origin story, and where you're heading to in the future. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks a lot, Neil, for giving me the opportunity.
I must admit, talking about cubesats, 5G IoT, NB satellite constellations and other satellite constellations, I found myself channeling my inner Doc Brown from Back to the Future, thinking, great Scott! And yes, the tech itself is incredibly exciting, but most importantly of all is anybody anywhere in the world is how this technology is bringing 5G networks worldwide to users without having to purchase any other equipment other than their mobile device. And some of the figures and stats that today's guest mentioned there just completely blew my mind. But I'd love to hear more about what you thought about everything that we discussed today. So please, email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, just @Neil C. Hughes. My website, if you'd like to work with me, is techblogwriter.co.uk. Let's keep this conversation going. And I'll return again tomorrow. We'll tackle another subject together, and we'll rock 2023. It's one little podcast community. So thank you for listening today, and until next time, don't be a stranger.